So, strategic question for you then with the Institute and what you do. If nothing is being regulated in the nature which you're trying to regulate, where do you start? How do you know where your focal point is going to be, where you're going to be most effective? Are you analyzing the pace and development of artificial intelligence, how it's being used, and being like, oh, this is where we should try and interject ourselves with our research and do something for it? Like, how are you deciding that?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of research because I've been doing a lot of research for the last 25, 30 years now on technology and society. I use my acquired research to advise the institute where we should be focusing. In my opinion, we need to focus first on getting government regulations in place, and that's happening. Don't know how effective it's going to be because, as you know, in the United States, the AI regulations are voluntary and they were
Mhm.
put in place by Biden as a presidential mandate, which really doesn't have a lot of teeth because there's no punishment if corporations don't follow them because they're the ones that made these regulations and they're going to do it voluntarily or not. In the EU, they have a much better structure where they have EU regulations now just instituted about AI, pretty comprehensive regulations, and there's punishments for not following them.
How many kind of a commercial question, I suppose. How many major AI firms have come out of the EU?
There's more than you think. I see them in my organizational work because the people I deal with are all over the globe, but
Mhm.
a lot of them are European. And so they have their own AI companies. They're not as big as the US ones.
Clearly.
The US has, I mean, the major player. There's a saying that somebody from Europe snidely told me. The United States is the best at creating AI. Chinese, they're the best at stealing AI, and the Europeans are the best at regulating AI, but they don't necessarily do the other 2 things very well.
Right.
So, you know, the EU regulate is good at regulating everything. People who are more laissez-faire, developers and economists, they don't like that. They wish they were here so they could just do what they wanted.
Sure. Now, you guys are going forward, you're doing this research. Explain this to me in case I just don't have the capacity to understand. And this has almost been a philosophical but mental exercise and limitation for me. Everybody's worried about the advancement of technology very, very quickly. And for instance, artificial intelligence. You saw this as an early precursor in your career when you started bringing in technology into the classics. People are like, bad, bad, bad. That's not good. It's going to take over my job. How is it that human beings continue to put this thing they create in front of them and assume it's in total control when they're the ones that designed it?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I asked the same question. Uh, I
Am I being unreasonable, Kevin, when I ask this?
well, when people would ask me in the '90s, "Do you think computers will take my job?" I always would answer, and this didn't make me popular, but I would answer, "Well, if it tries, you can just unplug it."
Yep, that checks out.
Yeah, and with AI, there's so many glitches. AI is not reliable, and that's why I don't think it's gonna take over the world.